Have you ever wondered to yourself, where are all the women? Why can't I find a cool, attractive girl? It's as if all the women already have a boyfriend or they moved to Dubai. Wrong. There's actually a lot of women if you know where to look. I've already coached over 700 men since 2018, and in this video, I want to lay out the entire list of all the locations I've seen my clients have success at over the years. But more importantly, I'm going to rank these in order. That way you don't waste your time. And I'm also going to be giving you guys specific strategy of what you should be doing in each of these environments to have success. So let's get into number one, which is going to be online dating. Now, this isn't a physical location, but definitely worth noting because it is a legitimate place where you can meet women and land dates. Something to understand with online dating is that your level of physical appearance on your dating profile is going to be somewhat equivalent to the caliber of women you can match with. Pros of online dating is that it's a good way to get a lot of dating practice. And also, once your profile is set up, you can use that profile anywhere in the world. So putting some time in on the front end to get a quality profile will then set you up for long-term success. The cons of online dating is that you don't actually practice social confidence. Your dating pool is also limited to the people that you match with. And it's also going to be very difficult to match with the hottest, highest caliber women because a lot of those girls might not even be on online dating profiles, or you just won't even have the opportunity to match with them unless you're a 9 or a 10 or very tall. I think the misconception for online dating is that it's only good if you're this really model-esque looking guy, and that's just simply not true. I genuinely think anybody who put a little bit of time into optimizing their look and they really go out and take solid photos, meaning you hire a good photographer, get really good high quality photos, you could set yourself up with a quality profile and start getting matches and going on dates rather quickly. And the type of men that online dating is ideal for is the guy that doesn't have that much time. He doesn't really want to go out and actually improve his social confidence. Maybe he's a busy dude, he travels a lot, and he just wants to create this funnel with his online dating profile to quickly and efficiently set up dates. It's either that guy, or if you're a very, very good looking dude or you have height on your side, then online dating can really work for you as well. And so for all of those reasons, I'm gonna put online dating into the strongly recommended tier. Let's move into number two, which is one of my favorites. Daytime cold approach in the streets is a great way to build character, to build your social confidence, to meet women that you wouldn't otherwise have access to, right? There's a lot of girls that are just going about their day to day, that are walking down the streets or they're shopping or they're headed somewhere, and you could actually meet these women with no competition. And some of these girls are actually free right in the moment. It's not uncommon if you do things properly, you could actually go on dates and meet these women same day. And that's probably the only environment that you could meet some of these girls in. The cons to doing cold approach daytime would be that there is a learning curve. So on the front end of this, you're gonna probably face a decent amount of rejection, but long-term, it is 100% worth it to get this skill set down. It is a life-changing skill set. I think the biggest misconception when it comes to daytime is that guys think that it's all about looks, or that it's a really big waste of time and it's just a numbers game, when in reality, there are a lot of technicalities when it comes to making the approach from the right distance, having charm, displaying confidence, open on the interaction, being able to make the girl feel comfortable. There's a lot of technicalities that go around that outside of just looks. And so if you can learn the skill set, yes, on the front end, it will be a little bit difficult. It will be nerve-wracking, but once you get over that hump, you build the confidence, you have a lifelong skill set that has a ripple down effect into so many other areas of your life. And daytime cold approach on the street is most ideal for guys that are at least somewhat attractive and live within 30 minutes of a major city, or a guy who's just really shy, but he's down to actually put in the work and build the skill set because he sees the benefit long-term of doing this. And because of all of the benefits that daytime approaching can bring to your life, aside from just meeting a quality woman, I'm putting this at one of the highest recommendations. Let's move into number three, which is gonna be clubbing, or loud, packed club environments. The pros of this location is going to be that there's a lot of volume there, meaning you could practice on a lot of people. There's a lot of anonymity, meaning you won't see a lot of these people more than one time. So it's a great way to practice, and if you get rejected or if you mess something up, like, most likely you're not going to see these people again. It's also a great way to practice your vibe. You're going to learn how to lead interactions properly, how to sexualize interactions, work on your escalation, and even at more advanced levels, you'll actually start to practice pulling and bringing girls home, and you even have the potential to close same night. So there are a lot of pros that could come with it, but there's also a lot of cons that come with it, in my opinion, as well, which is it's very loud. You're going to be out really late. There's a lot of low quality that you're going to have to sift through. You're not going to be able to create real connections in the super loud environments. And some of these clubs are just sardine packed, really dark, bass pounding, can't even carry a conversation. And in some of those environments, it's damn near impossible. One of the biggest misconceptions when it comes to going to clubs and stuff is that you're gonna either need to be out there ridiculously late and you're gonna have to end up getting drunk, and you're gonna have to party and you have to be around all of these bad, low quality people. That's not necessarily the case. You could still go out to these environments, stay sober, have a good night out, meet a couple women. You don't need to be in the middle of the dance floor the whole night if you don't want to. There are probably sections of the club that aren't as loud, and you could also go home at a reasonable time. So it doesn't need to be that way, but honestly, I don't think it's the most ideal place. And I think this environment is most ideal for the guys that are very physically attractive, or if you're very tall, or if you're naturally charismatic, or if you don't have those things. Other ways you could still stand out in these environments is if you're a really good dancer. I have a friend of mine who's an average looking guy with very minimal game, but he's an incredible dancer. And so when he goes to these environments, he can actually attract women just off of his dance moves. It's actually pretty incredible to see what he can do with that. Now, he doesn't necessarily close that much, but if he understood the other side of it, like, he could really do a lot of damage in these type of environments. So dancing, obviously, in a club environment can be very powerful, or being in the VIP section, or if you can convey pre-selection in these environments, like, those are all characteristics that could also help you. But because of the nature of clubs and how loud and how packed and the lack of ability to actually have conversation and run real interactions, in my opinion, the club is not anywhere near the most ideal environment to go out and meet people. It can be good, but I don't really recommend it to be one of your top priorities. And for all of those reasons, I'm actually going to be placing this on the lower recommendation tier. Now let's move into number 4, which is going to be the gym. The pros about the gym is that you'll meet healthy, like-minded women at these places, obviously, which is nice because you're just kind of going about your day and you're going to the gym, you're going there to get your workout, and there just so happens to be women at this environment. I'd say the biggest con about the gym is if you're a guy who goes to the gym really early. I typically work out between 4 a.m., 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., and honestly, even when I go to the really busy gyms, there's not that many people there that early, so it's not really a good time, in my opinion, to actually meet women. Now, if you go in the afternoon or the evening, there's much more opportunity, but it just depends on your schedule and what you have available to you. I think the biggest misconception when it comes to gyms is the idea that
I don't want to shit where I eat,
kind of a thing. And that could be the furthest thing from the truth. You don't need to hit on the girl and do a direct approach and try to ask her out and go for her number. You could just start a conversation or have a very, very short interaction in passing, and you could slowly build up the rapport with this woman over multiple instances as she sees you at the gym over and over and over again. And if she's showing you some level of enthusiasm or interest in those shorter interactions, you could start to extend them one step at a time. And when you do that with everyone at the gym, it will start to have a compounding effect. So over time, the gym can be somewhat of a fruitful place in terms of making friends and potentially even meeting women if it's done strategically. And to throw in an additional tip, dress up for the gym, guys. Like, look presentable when you're going to work out. Don't just roll out of bed, throw on a baggy hoodie and some sweats and then just go to the gym. Like, you can actually get nice workout apparel and go to the gym looking fly. If you take care of yourself, you look the part, and you're a good looking dude, and obviously if you're somewhat aesthetic in the gym, you will start to get attention from women there. But just keep in mind, no direct approaches aggressively hitting on women there. And so for all of these reasons, I'm going to be placing the gym at a medium recommendation. Definitely not your primary source of meeting women. And if it's not a crowded gym, it's probably going to be a very low source, honestly. But nice to stack into your day if you're already going in to get a workout anyway. Now let's move into number 5, which is going to be dance class. So pros to dance class is that you're going to be able to interact and touch women that you most likely wouldn't have been able to interact with otherwise, right? Like, you get thrown into these scenarios where you're going to be dancing with women and you don't need to cold approach them. You don't need to really try that much to get into dancing. It's just kind of part of the class that's going on. So for that reason, it's a great add-on, in my opinion, to stack on top of these other locations that we're also talking about. It should not be the standalone place for you to just have your whole dating life. This is an add-on for you to learn a skill set, to kind of loosen up your body for a lot of you guys that are very stiff. Like me personally, I was always very stiff when I was going out to these nighttime environments. I kind of wish that I learned a little bit more of dancing back in my 20s. And in terms of the cons, I don't really have any that come to my mind other than maybe you're gonna have to spend a little bit of money to sign up for the class. And so if you're not actually interested in learning how to dance, like, I wouldn't just take the class just so you could talk to women. Like, you're gonna need to do both. So no real cons, in my opinion, when it comes to dance class. Highly recommended if you need an additional lead source to tap into to start practicing being around more women and getting more confident. I think that's a great add-on. And so for that reason, I'm gonna end up putting dance class in the strongly recommended tier. Now let's move into number 6, which is gonna be Run Club. Pros about Run Club will be that you can make friends and meet women that are like-minded and healthy while you're just going about your exercise, all right? You can actually socialize before the Run Club actually takes off to run. And then I think afterwards, there's typically like a little hangout session where a lot of the people can still socialize after. In terms of the cons, I guess the only thing would really be it's not ideal for you if you don't actually want to start running frequently. Like me personally, I'm not crazy about running, so it's not exactly something I would really look forward to. I think the biggest misconception about Run Club, a lot of guys might think it would be really hard to meet people there, or it would be weird if you go there alone. I don't think so, man. I mean, if you live near a major city, the run clubs are actually pretty big. It's like this constantly evolving trend that's been getting bigger and bigger. The run club in Miami is ridiculous. Like, I was overwhelmed when I saw it. It's kind of insane. But even in other major cities, it's very big, and there's typically a hangout going on after. So as long as you get there early, you have some short bursts of interaction, just give out greetings or compliments before the run actually starts, and then you can reopen these people afterwards, and then you see them on a weekly basis. So it's a very easy, low pressure environment for you to make friends and meet women. And one other good thing is if you meet future friends or you meet other women going about your day to day, you could always extend an invitation for them to join you at the next run club. So it's this nice event that you have going on every week that you could start sending out invitations to new people that you meet in your day to come and join you, which is nice. And for all of those reasons, I'm gonna put Run Club into the medium recommendation tier. Let's move into number 7, which is gonna be yoga classes. Now the pros of yoga, because I actually did hot yoga for over a year straight when I was living in New Jersey. And one of the biggest pros I would say is that you're gonna be around women constantly, right? Like I'd say like 90 to 95% of the class is typically women. There's maybe 1 or 2 other dudes in the whole class. At least the yoga studio that I was going to, it was me and 1 other dude, and then typically like 15 to 20 women. So the ratio is crazy. You actually do get a legitimate workout in, and it is very beneficial. Like I wasn't even going there to meet women. I actually initially signed up because I had really bad back pain. And after doing it for about 3 to 4 months, I actually found tremendous benefit in doing hot yoga. It was very therapeutic and there was a lot of health benefits. So it's a great thing to do while being around women. Now, I wouldn't make this your primary source of social interaction with women. I don't think there's actually that much opportunity to interact with girls. You could get there early and talk kind of before the session, but it's pretty quiet inside of the yoga studio. Like everybody's trying to relax and it's this peaceful, soothing thing. And then after the class is over, everybody's really sweaty. And from my experience, most people aren't just hanging around when they're dripping sweat because they're like uncomfortable and the girls feel nasty. And like some people will socialize. It's just not the most ideal. So it's good to do. I would encourage you guys to do this if you genuinely want to do yoga. And in that case, go look at a yoga studio that actually has a lot of women there. Go to the popular yoga studio because you want to do yoga, and then you'll also just naturally be around women. So I think yoga is ideal for the guys that genuinely want to do yoga. This should not be your primary source of interacting with women. You're going to do this for the health benefits, but I would also encourage you go to the studio that has a lot of people there, because then you could also simultaneously have a little bit more social interaction in your day-to-day to meet women. It's just not the most ideal to get a dating life going from this one place alone. And so for all of these reasons, I'm gonna place yoga into the medium tier recommendation. Let's move into number 8, which is gonna be the bars or the lounges. In my opinion, these are better than the clubs. Reason being is they're not nearly as loud. Some of them can still have quite a packed crowd. It doesn't need to be sardine packed and bass pounding and you can't talk and you're screaming into each other's ear, but there'll be a lot of people and there's actually not as much music, so you can now socialize with everybody. In my opinion, the right bar or the right rooftop lounge can be the best opportunity for nighttime interaction. And that was primarily where I learned my entire skill set when I was in my mid to late 20s. I was going out doing night game Thursday night, Friday night, Saturday night. Now the cons to going to bars and lounges is that obviously you're gonna have to be out later than you normally would. You're gonna be around a lot of alcohol. You're gonna be around quite a bit of drunken people. There's a little bit of sloppiness, messiness that comes with the territory. And then also what I've noticed with the bars is that if you go to the smaller ones, there's typically more of like a local crowd, and that's typically a less attractive crowd. Okay, so you just need to be selective about the locations of which you go to. But in my opinion, this is one of the best locations to meet women, to practice social skills. There's a lot of volume, a lot of repetition, a lot of anonymity for you to practice, and you can meet women, bring women home that night. I think the biggest misconception about the bars and the clubs is that it's all low quality and you're just dealing with drunken thoughts. I would say on any given night out, there's at least a couple women who don't typically go to the bar that got dragged out for their girl's birthday. They're out with coworkers after they went out for dinner and they just so happen to be there. And you could still meet those women on any given night because there are a couple of them there. And for that reason, I'm also going to put bars and lounges at the highest recommended tier depending on where you live. And if you're somebody who wants to get better with your daytime interaction, or maybe it is you going out during the nighttime and maybe even stacking on online dating, whatever locations work best for you, if you want to get that abundant dating life, you can actually work with me personally to fast track this whole process. All right, if you click the link down below, you can apply to work with me one-on-one. Got a brand new coaching program going on for 2025. Click the link down below. Now let's get into number 9, which is going to be social circle / house parties. Now the pros to social circle or house parties is that this is going to be extremely warm interactions. All right, there's a lot of implied trust, social proof, some level of pre-selection. When a girl meets you out in the street, she has to evaluate, is this dude a stranger? Is this dude weird, creepy? I don't know this guy. When she's introduced to you from another person that she already knows, you now have the social proof and the pre-selection in place. So there's a lot of elements that are already implied from the moment the girl meets you. Now the cons to social circle or even house parties is that you're limited to the people within your social circle or whoever's at that party. And a lot of times that might not be the best crowd. And that's probably one of the biggest issues I see with people that are hyper fixated on social circle is they never really learn the ability to cold approach. So social circle is great. It can get you access to some of the highest level people to be around. But I think that as a standalone is not ideal. And in fact, anybody I know that is very good at social circle, they also know cold approach or they have those cold approach foundations. So social circle is great, but also do not just solely depend on this because you're afraid to really get out there and make approaches. And one other con could be the idea that you could develop a bad reputation or shit where you eat within the social circle if you've already started to get with one or two of the women in that circle. If things don't go well with those, you could start to develop a bad reputation rather quickly. So you do need to be a little bit more selective about who you end up getting intimate with within the social circle. So keep that in mind as well. But there are so many benefits to having female friends and high level like-minded individuals that are around you in your life that either throw parties or that you can invite you out to events. Or if you meet other people in your day-to-day, you can now invite them to join you and the social circle out at an environment. And so there's just so much opportunity that can come from it. I cannot speak highly enough about it. And so for all of the above mentioned reasons, I'm going to be throwing social circle into the highest tier recommendation as well. Let's move into number 10, which is going to be the work environment. Now, pros about work environment is that obviously if you meet a girl in this environment, it's going to be a very warm initial interaction. Obviously you have some commonalities, shared interests, shared career path, but that's pretty much the only pro that you have to it. The cons is that it could actually be very risky. Like if things do not go well, then there's a lot of potential downside versus upside. Like if you're not planning on being with this girl long term. So it is risky. There's also limited options. Most likely you don't have a lot of women around you at the work environment. I definitely would not make this your primary source of meeting women. The only people that this is really ideal for is people who have a certain job where there's a lot of customer interaction. You're not interacting with your coworkers constantly, but you could work at a job, typically the nightlife or like customer service type stuff, like your bartender or DJ. You work somewhere where you're interacting with a lot of customers. You will have a lot of opportunity in those environments to meet women. But again, it's just not the most ideal in my opinion. This could be a bonus if it presents itself while you're working, but don't be dependent on work environments to meet women. And so for all of those reasons, I'm putting work environment at the lowest recommended tier. Let's move into number 11, which is going to be stores. This would be Target, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, or Starbucks. I think the pros to these locations is that, again, you'll have access to a different type of crowd that you might not see outside of that. Like there's a lot of women that don't go out during the nighttime, but you'll see these women during the daytime walking the streets, they're at the malls or in the grocery stores. And so there's a certain crowd that you could meet in these environments. Another good thing is that if you do actually hook an interaction in these type of environments, you could actually get a number that could go to a date because there's not much competition. You also don't need to be going out late to work on your social skills. Like you could do this literally 30 minutes in the afternoon after work before going to the gym. Just pop into one of these stores and you actually get some social interaction. I would say this is one of the most overlooked locations that I've actually had a lot of clients get success with. I even had one client in particular, he was telling me, he's like, man, I've been spending all my weekends going out to these bars and clubs. He's like, I didn't even realize Target was so lit. it was actually a pretty funny conversation we had. I wouldn't recommend this being your primary location, but you could pop into one of these environments 1, 2, 3 times a week for like 20, 30 minutes at a time. Get some social interaction after work before going to the gym, and you don't need to be out late. You could push your comfort zone. You can meet women. You can run interactions in your day-to-day with very minimal time invested and do that quite consistently. So it's not the best, but it's really not horrible. And so for that reason, I think you could definitely stack this into your week. I'm gonna put this in the medium recommendation tier. Let's move into number 12, which is gonna be church. Pros to this is gonna be you'll meet really genuine women when you're in the church environment. Obviously, they're gonna share the same type of religious views. So if you're a man that prioritizes your religion and you take that very seriously and you're looking for a like-minded woman who is completely aligned with your religious views, then I think one of the best places that you could find that, obviously, is gonna be church. So that's probably the biggest pro to it. The cons of it, though, is you're not gonna have much of a selection of women to choose from. I don't know that many churches where there's gonna be like an abundance of just attractive women, unless you're going to really big churches. So I just don't think that's the majority of them. I think the other con maybe is that like most likely she's going to be there with her family. So like it's not that you can't still go up and make the approach, but just understand it's going to be a different dynamic. Most likely her family's going to be there. So it could be a little bit different than your typical interaction. This one isn't for everybody, but it is worth including in here because I have helped guys that are more on the religious side. It's something additional that you could tap into if you're already someone who's going to church consistently. All right, and I think that's the beautiful thing about a lot of these different locations that I have on this list. It's not that any one of these is amazing. You pick out 3, 4, or 5 of these that you do these things throughout your week anyway. I'm already going to the gym. I go to yoga a couple times. I go to these grocery stores. I pop in at this cafe. I go to the church on Sunday. If you just schedule out your day to be in some of these environments, you're going to have a lot of opportunity already. And church, in my opinion, doesn't have that much opportunity, but it is worth noting. So I'm going to put it in the lower recommendation tier. Let's move into number 13, which is going to be concerts, festivals, and raves. I mean, when it comes to pros for this, I can't really think of too many. I don't think that you should be going to these places strictly to try to meet women. This is going to be more of like a hobby. You enjoy it. You like the DJ that's playing. You like a certain type of music. You're going to a certain festival with your friends and you want to just have fun and have like a crazy experience. That's primarily why you're going to go to these places. It just so happens that there will also be women there too. So I wouldn't go there to meet women. You're going to go there because you enjoy this thing, and it just so happens that there's also women there and there may be opportunities. The cons is that it's going to be really late. There's a lot of drugs. There's a lot of like partying. There's a lot of weirdos at these places too. And when you meet girls in these environments, most likely it doesn't translate into dates. All right, that's just what I've noticed from my own experience. But one other thing I want to share with you guys for these environments is that there are a lot of in-between locations at these places, meaning you go to these big festivals where there's like multiple stages. There's actually these in-between sections at the festivals where there's like these tiny bars or these little rest areas. So there's these big groups where there's like minimal music and everybody's taking a break from the hardcore partying, and you can actually get a lot of interaction in the in-between environments at these places. All right, so if you do find yourself out there, I'd encourage you to maybe check out like those spots because it's going to be easier to talk to people in the rest areas or the food spots or the bars in between versus in the middle of the mosh pit or the jam-packed crowd with the rave and the music fucking going crazy. Now again, not ideal location, but it is worth putting on the list. I'm going to put this at the lowest recommendation. Let's move into number 14, which most of you guys might not have even thought was an option, but it is the strip club. All right, this is a great way to get desensitized to flirting, sexualizing an interaction, getting comfortable around attractive half-naked women. Like if you're not confident talking to women, you haven't spoken to many girls, you haven't seen that many girls naked before, you're not comfortable talking dirty or talking sexy or talking flirty to women, you should go to the strip club. You don't need to spend hundreds of dollars in the back room getting these lap dances as the girl's trying to like pretend that she's gonna take your pants off and that she's never done this before and you're the only one. No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you can go to these environments, you don't go into the back room, you can buy the girl a drink and she'll sit down with you and actually have a conversation in a lot of these environments. So you can actually stay at the table and have conversation, you buy them a drink and you practice your conversation skills. And over time, you can actually build quite a bit of confidence that way. Honestly, some of these strip clubs, there are ridiculously attractive women. And if you could sit down with some of these girls and they're half naked, flirting and engaging with you, that is great practice for some of you men. So I'm aware this isn't the best place. Don't go there trying to find your girlfriend, but it can be a good place depending on the man. And also strip clubs are open very late. So if you're out one night and like things close early and there isn't much going on, I would actually encourage you to try to go to one of these spots and just try it out, man. Just try it out. You don't need to make this your home, but I think it can also be a decent place depending on what your situation is. But also understand like quality is low there. I'm going to put this at the lowest tier recommendation. Let's move into number 15, which is going to be malls or shopping centers. The pros is that at certain times throughout the day, and especially on weekends, or if you live in major cities, some of these malls can be very, very good spots. There's a lot of cafes and food stores like in the mall itself. So if you meet a girl in the set hooks, you're already in a location where you guys could literally just go on a date right on the spot. Go get a coffee, go get a bite to eat right then and there because she's in the mall. Obviously, she's not that busy. She's shopping, right? That's a really good reason to go to these places. The cons would be if you're not in a major city, some of these malls can be quite dead, especially during the weekdays. So you may be walking around for a decent amount of time looking just to try to get into 1 or 2 interactions. So it just depends on the location you're in. I would say from my experience, the malls have actually been pretty good. And just to give you guys a pro tip, when it comes to the malls, women will flock to Zara, Sephora, Starbucks, or any type of designer stores. So if you can find a mall that has like 1 or 2 or 3 of these type of stores stacked near each other, that's a great place because there's gonna be women coming in and out of those spots. So that's a prime location right there for day gaming at the mall. And so for all of these reasons, I'm gonna put the malls in the medium recommendation tier. And so what you wanna do as a man is now look at this list and make an evaluation for yourself. Which of these environments do you naturally want to go to throughout your week? Like some of you guys like to go to the gym. Some of you guys like to go to yoga. You like to do your grocery shopping. I would encourage you to go to the most populated locations out of these places on your list. And then as you're evaluating your week, are you getting enough social interaction in or not? Because if you don't have enough opportunity, you may need to be more intentional and deliberate and go to more of these environments consistently so you can start getting to more interactions with women. If you want to get more social confidence, if you want to get better with your conversation skills or your flirting skills and really just get an abundant dating life, I can help you fast track that process, okay? I can sit down with you personally and craft out a customized game plan to take you from where you're at right now to getting that abundant dating life that you truly want. So if you're ready to make a change in 2025, click the link down below, fill out the application for my brand new coaching program. That's all for this video, guys. Talk soon. Peace out.